after this guy's finances.
So that last point that you made is an extremely important one. People think of the Robert Mueller investigation as this roving all our questions about Donald Trump. One thing we have learned about Robert Mueller over the last 2 years is that he is extremely limited, self-limited mostly. He's very careful about his own jurisdiction and staying within his lane. And that means that a huge amount of the stuff that we think of when we think of Trump, we think of the ethical questions, we think of the legal questions about Trump, are actually outside the Robert Mueller lane because he's being a good boy and staying within his lane. That means there's a lot of space for the Southern District of New York. There's a lot of space for the New York Attorney General's office. There's a lot of space for congressional investigators who, have you say, who, as you say, have a bit in their mouth. Yeah, because he's been mocking this guy. I mean, human nature tells me that Schiff's going to get serious with this. Anyway, President Trump says Republicans didn't harass President Obama, but just 6 days after the 2010 midterms, when Republicans regained the House, Politico reported the incoming House Oversight Chair, Darrell Issa, promised hundreds of hearings, saying, I want 7 hearings a week, times 40 weeks. Congressman, how dare this president and his crowd say, don't harass the president? Chasing him down to Hawaii, saying, I got some investigators down there that are coming up with good stuff to prove he was an illegal alien. You know the whole rap.
And, well, what was Benghazi all about, right? Benghazi. I mean, look, this is very serious, and we have to come to a reckoning with what happened in 2016. Chairman Schiff is considered to have, you know, one of the highest, he's held in very high regard in Congress because he does things by the book, and that's what he's going to do here. And I'm very confident that we're going to let the chips fall where they may. We're going to investigate and see what happens after that. But if the president thinks harassment equals oversight, well, you know, I'm sorry to say we're going to be, doing our duty of oversight.
Question to you at the bottom of all this: if it turns out that the Russians had a hook in this president, the oligarchs, should he be removed from office?
If they had a hook into
himself, into what he does in terms of U.S.-Russian relations, that he has not the freedom of our commander-in-chief, that he is, in fact, working for the Russians because of what he owes them, what pictures they have, whatever power they have over him.
I think that crosses a red line. I think that would probably go to impeachment.
Okay, let me go to Jonathan on this report here. Tell us about where this goes, this question about the money and where it's leading.
Well,
Follow money.
Well, where it will go is, as a matter of policy, the House Intelligence Committee will try to get people from the Trump Organization to voluntarily testify. And they may or may not do that. I mean, my understanding from talking to people who are close to the president is that when they start to encroach on the Trump Organization, start to delve into it, they are going to stiff-arm them because they see that as an issue that, again, the president drew that red line. That's somewhere that they're not going to let them go. So then you get into litigation, you get into a court fight, you get into something that becomes very, very ugly. And ultimately, it becomes a political contest. The Trump people are going to be arguing that Adam Schiff has exceeded his duties and his bounds, and that this is a witch hunt, and the Democrats will be arguing that they're doing their oversight. So again, I think this is going to end up in the courts, and I think it's going to get very ugly pretty quickly.
What right does this president, under our Constitution, to draw a red line and say, you can't ask me about my money? Where is that wrritten down, Congressman? I'm not familiar with that.
There's no red line such as that. And you know, Chairman Richie Neal is initiating hearings in the Ways and Means Committee to get access to the president's tax returns. And the reason is that there's a big question about why the president is handling himself the way he's handling himself. And I think a lot of the answers are in his personal finances and how they're entangled with foreign actors.
Well, everybody watching right now, this is a editorial for action. If you voted Democrat in the last November election, it matters. And you're watching it right now. The Democrats control the House. They have the power of subpoena. They control the committees of intel and judiciary and oversight. And it's all going to matter in the weeks and months ahead. It's important that you voted. Thank you. Congressman Krishna.